3:17 a.m. on the 17th of October, a profound and eerie silence settled over the wide, empty expanse of the Meoz River Valley, situated more than 70 miles deep behind the supposed safety of the Russian front lines in occupied territory. This brief, tense moment was the calm before the storm, the precise instant preceding the surgical destruction of Bridge 305. This massive rail crossing was recognized by every intelligence agency as the single most critical choke point for Russian logistics, funneling essential supplies to forces across the entire southern command. Moscow, complacent in its territorial control, believed its investment in steel and concrete provided adequate protection for this vital asset. They were tragically mistaken. The thunderous echoing sound that ripped through the quiet morning was not the random noise of shelling, but the definitive crushing sound of Russia's supply line being snapped in half. This single, calculated act initiated a strategic paralysis, demonstrating that even the most hardened logistical structures are vulnerable to the ingenuity and audacity of highly trained special operations forces, thereby setting the stage for a major shift in the balance of power on the southern front. Bridge 305 was designated a high-value military target for good reason. It was no simple, ordinary crossing. It was a vast, heavy-duty, dual-track steel girder structure built to withstand decades of heavy rail traffic. Its function was to seamlessly transfer an estimated 80% of all heavy equipment, bulk fuel, and critical ammunition from staging areas in Russia's Rostov Oblast directly into the occupied regions of Zaporizhia and Kherson. For months, the Ukrainian General Staff had labeled this bridge a virtually impenetrable military fortress. Its defenses were formidable and layered. Anti-air cover was provided by nearby batteries of Tor M2 short-range missile systems, poised to eliminate any aerial threat. More critically, anti-sabotage security was maintained by round-the-clock patrol boats, which continuously swept the murky waters below with powerful thermal cameras and infrared spotlights, making infiltration via the river a suicide mission. The sheer scale of the Russian defensive investment highlighted their absolute reliance on Bridge 305, making its destruction not just a tactical victory, but a strategic imperative to break the Russian logistical backbone. The team on the ground, operating under the call sign Scythe, comprised just 3 elite Ukrainian Special Operations Forces, SSO operators. Their infiltration demanded an extraordinary level of physical endurance and technical stealth. The mission began with a silent, arduous approach followed by a nearly 20-mile cold water swim, navigating the dense river reeds and strong, freezing currents of the Meoz. Their survival relied on specialized passive thermal cloaks, advanced gear designed to suppress their body heat signature and blend into the ambient cold of the water, thus defeating the enemy's vigilant thermal patrols. Their primary weapon was precision-engineered for the task, RP-37 Claymore-style shaped charges. These were not standard munitions. They had been specifically modified using high-density plastic explosives and specialized casing to maximize the focused, upward concussive force, ensuring the blast would penetrate the thick concrete and steel of the pier, rather than just damaging the sides. This combination of physical stealth and explosive precision was the only way they could hope to overcome the bridge's comprehensive defenses and deliver a fatal blow. The pressure point. The most critical and dangerous phase of the mission was the placement of the explosives. The plan dictated that the charges be positioned directly on the pier's load-bearing caps, the precise concrete foundations where the steel girders transferred the immense weight of the bridge and its cargo. Any failure to detonate at this specific pressure point would only cause superficial cosmetic damage, allowing the bridge to be repaired swiftly. The risk was unfathomable. As the 3 men silently worked beneath the massive, suffocating dark shadow of the bridge structure, a Russian patrol boat, illuminated by its high-powered infrared spotlight, drifted directly overhead. The beams swept across the water, inches from their position. The team had a terrifying window of mere seconds to press themselves flat into the cold, mud-caked recesses of the riverbank. They were forced to endure a moment of absolute stillness, their hearts hammering against the freezing silence, knowing that the slightest movement, a sudden breath, or a glitch in their thermal cloaks would mean instant detection and annihilation. It was the ultimate test of nerves and discipline. The SSO team's greatest technical hurdle was not the physical guards but the ubiquitous presence of sophisticated electronic warfare, EW. Russian Lear-3 EW systems had effectively saturated the bridge's immediate area, specifically designed to jam radio signals used for drone control and, critically, for remotely triggering detonators. Relying on standard radio signals was out of the question. To guarantee mission success, the team executed a brilliant counter-intel maneuver. They utilized a fiber-optic ignition system. This required laboriously unspooling nearly a mile of hair-thin, armored fiber-optic cable back to their covert observation post. This low-tech, physical link was impervious to all electronic jamming, making it the only reliable method to ensure the charges fired simultaneously. Precision demolition demands synchronization. Only a unified blast could deliver the required energy to shatter the pier and trigger a catastrophic structural collapse. This reliance on an analog solution in a high-tech conflict was a masterstroke, bypassing the enemy's most advanced defensive technology. The SSO commander, known only by his callsign Bodon, focused intensely on the timer from the safety of the observation post, his finger poised over the trigger. With a silent confirmation of readiness from his men, he initiated the command. The resulting simultaneous detonation was not a chaotic spreading fireball, but a sharp, controlled, upward-thrusting geyser of pulverized concrete and mangled steel. The focused energy of the shaped charges performed exactly as designed, targeting the central structural supports. The initial blast compromised the pier's integrity, causing it to buckle inward under the immense load above. The catastrophic structural failure was instantaneous. Within 2 seconds of the initial explosion, the entire 100-meter span of the rail bridge collapsed with a deafening roar into the river, folding and crumpling like a broken spine. The target was not merely damaged, it was utterly destroyed and turned into a massive, impassable heap of wreckage at the bottom of the river, effectively severing the main artery of the Russian Southern Command supply chain. The immediate strategic consequences of the Bridge 305 loss were devastating to the Russian war effort. The direct economic damage is estimated at over $500 million, a figure that pales in comparison to the logistical paralysis inflicted. For the Kremlin's Southern Command, this single sabotage action is strategically more detrimental than losing multiple frontline brigades. Russia now faces an almost impossible engineering dilemma. The river's treacherous depth and soft, unstable bed make the rapid construction of temporary pontoon bridges extremely challenging and vulnerable. This means the southern armies are now effectively cut off from heavy reinforcement, forcing a dangerous delay of potentially weeks or months. Every single heavy munition, every barrel of fuel, and every spare part must now be transported along an arduous exposed detour of over 300 kilometers. This dramatically increased logistical tail is not only slower but makes transport convoys far more susceptible to ambushes and long-range strikes, accelerating the consumption of Russian operational reserves. The destruction of the bridge set off a disastrous domino effect that is crippling Russia's sustainability in the south. Russian commanders are now mandated to conserve rapidly dwindling ammunition supplies, a restriction that immediately curtails offensive operations and severely weakens their defensive artillery fire. This passive posture creates a critical vulnerability, inviting a concerted Ukrainian counterpush. Furthermore, the remaining rail nodes and alternate supply routes have become instantly overloaded with rerouted traffic. These remaining junctions have now morphed into high-priority, easily targeted bottlenecks for Ukraine's long-range missile and drone attacks. The ripple effect of this single explosion is a systemic, multi-layered breakdown of the entire southern military district's ability to sustain large-scale combat operations. It forces commanders to divert scarce resources away from the front line to defend their vulnerable rear areas, a strategic trade-off that erodes their combat power from both the front and the back. While the target was a non-living structure, the human element defines the victory. The Scythe team's extreme bravery, their willingness to swim through freezing waters, face immediate detection, and operate for hours behind enemy lines, underscores the dedication required to disrupt the enemy war machine at its core. Their success is a powerful example of how strategic sabotage saves lives. This single night of courage, executed by just 3 individuals, has a direct humanitarian impact by ensuring that thousands of tons of Russian steel and explosives will never reach the battlefield. Every truck diverted, every shell delayed, and every supply depot starved of fuel translates directly into countless Ukrainian lives saved on the contact line. It is a powerful demonstration that focused, calculated risk by a few can produce an exponential reduction in the casualties suffered by many, proving the human value of deep strike operations. The destruction of Bridge 305 is a decisive strategic marker, establishing a new and definitive doctrine for modern warfare. In future conflicts, the battle for logistics will ultimately define the war's outcome. This action provides conclusive evidence that precision sabotage against high-value, fixed infrastructure is exponentially more effective and resource-efficient than costly, direct frontal assaults to capture territory. This single, calculated act of violence forces Russia to engage in a new type of conflict, a hidden war against its own vast geography and its own critical infrastructure. Moscow is not only fighting the Ukrainian armed forces on the front lines, but is now permanently engaged in a losing battle to protect its vulnerable rear echelon and supply lines. This successful operation validates the strategic imperative of deep targeting, forcing Russia to commit massive resources to passive defense instead of offensive action. The war is fundamentally shifting, and these deep strike operations are radically reshaping the concept of modern battlefield strategy. To stay ahead of the curve and fully grasp the next technological and tactical shifts in this conflict, you need to be with us. Make sure you are subscribed and have hit that notification bell so you don't miss our continuous, cutting-edge analysis. We want to hear your strategic input. Which Russian weakness do you think Ukraine should target next to maximize this logistical chaos? The vital oil refineries that power their army, or the key airfields that launch their attack aircraft? Let me know your detailed analysis in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next Frontline Reports, where we bring you the truth from the heart of the fight.